Hello, everyone. Welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. My name is Prabhat. I'm a founder of Online Seller UK. We are a specialist Amazon agency. And we are doing a series of Amazon advertising podcasts and advertising not only in the UK, but the US and Europe. And today I have got Neil with me. Neil is a co-founder of Amazon advertising agency, Rising Sun Commerce. And Neil and Neil's team have been doing advertising in the brands for brands in Japan for last 2 years. So welcome to our podcast, Neil.
Yep, thank you. Good to be
Right.
here.
Yeah, so do you want to introduce yourself more than what I just did? We may have something to add to that.
Okay, yeah, well, my name is Neil Curtis. So as been mentioned, I'm a co-founder of an Amazon agency for Amazon Japan called Rising Sun Commerce. We basically help companies, help sellers, help brands launch and start selling in Japan based on Amazon Japan. So mainly we work with people that are selling on Amazon and other marketplaces, whether it's UK, US, Europe, and they want to expand and launch their products into Japan. That's who we deal with. So we normally start from, setting up your listings, generating sales, getting some traction, and then growing your brand and business in Japan. So that's what we do.
Okay, excellent. So for a lot of people like me, it's an alien country. I don't understand the language. I don't know much about it. So is Amazon Japan, is it a large market? Is it worthwhile spending time and money in?
Yeah, so for comparison, it's kind of equivalent to the UK-ish, maybe a little bit smaller than Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we've got US as the top, then it's Germany, then Japan is normally about number 3, so Amazon's third largest market. And but actually the population, 130 million, so it's twice the size of the UK. So Amazon are really pushing for growth, so it can only grow from where it is. So it is definitely a good sized market.
Yeah. So so for a take example of the UK audience, a UK seller selling into UK and Europe, and obviously the language barrier is immense here. So is setting up a listing a very straightforward process, or how do you get about that?
Yeah, because basically Amazon wants people to expand into Japan. Mm-hmm. So you can set the settings to the whole dashboard, the whole seller centrals in English.
Sure.
So you can set it like that. So it's just it's a carbon copy of the UK seller central or the US seller central. So basically it's very familiar to people that sell in other marketplaces. So yeah, it's easy to set up, but obviously the listings need to be in Japanese. So that's kind of the main stumbling point.
Mm-hmm.
But on that, I'll expand on that. So if you do want to set up a listing, you can. There are some good translation services out there. If you just want a basic translation of your listing, that you can use them. So if you just Google, Japanese translation or something, you can find good, professional sort of level. But the problem may come when you're trying to sort of write in a sort of more of a salesy, optimized sort of way. You're trying to convince customers you've got your way of writing. So if you get it translated, that might not come across as well. And also when it comes to certain keywords, you want to include keywords into your listing, then if you just use a translation service, they can't really do that for you. They just do a one-to-one translation. So, but yeah, just setting up a listing, basic listing, you can certainly do it okay in Japan.
Okay. And Amazon don't have feature, they do auto translation like they do in the UK to Germany?
Yeah, well, they can do an auto translate sometimes, but we actually do a lot of work with sellers where Amazon has done this for them. But when we come to do it, we've got our Japanese staff and they read it and actually think this doesn't really make sense. So I don't know if they use Google Translate, but it seems to be on a par with Google Translate some of the time. So I wouldn't recommend the auto translation at the moment. If you're going to do it, I would recommend you get some translation service to do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously when the listing is done, the next step would be carrying out the advertising, which is what we are talking about today. So how do you recommend carrying out the keyword research for Amazon Japan?
Yeah, so if you want to do it yourself, I suppose there's different things you could do. You could have your list of keywords in English. So you could do your keyword research beforehand and then get these translated. But the problem with that is it's not always a one-to-one. So a phrase you use in England might not be the same phrase you use in Japan. So it's not the best way to do it. And also there's different ways of writing it. So you might have a phrase and there might be 2 or 3 different ways to structure this and write this in Japan. So it's not always easy to do. Probably the next step on from that is to do some reverse ASIN searches on competitor listings. So you could find competitor products that are doing well in Japan, you know, similar to your products in Japan.
Yeah.
And there are some tools, there's some free tools that you can use for Japan, and you can do reverse ASIN and get a list of search terms that this competitors are probably ranking for.
Right.
And then there are other tools where you can do rank checkers. So you could do a rank check for these competitors' keywords for the competitor product to basically see and guess what search terms the competitors are ranking highest for and are driving the most traffic. And then you can try and incorporate those into your listings. That's probably that's something you could do yourself as a seller because there's these tools available. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, you mentioned about reverse ASIN check. So which tool is it?
And there is one that we use called ASIN Seed that works in Japan.
Right.
It's ASIN Seed. And I think for free account, you get 3 reverse ASINs a day. So you can just go and check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just basically, just gives you a list of Japanese search terms,
Sure.
Estimated search volumes, and things like that. And so it's quite useful. Yeah, then you can just cut and paste these search terms into another tool. There's some rank checkers that work in Japan. I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Basically, see how highly in Amazon they rank for these search terms. So yeah, so those 2 tools combined is a good way to do some.
Yeah. So so cool. So we've got the keyword research, and do you suggest like in the UK and other way we've got auto campaigns? Is there a similar feature in Amazon Japan advertising?
Yeah. So all your ad structure is the same. So yeah, I would if your listing set up right, you know, and you're confident that Amazon will understand your listing, you know, then I would recommend doing the auto campaigns, and that's another good way to do some basic keyword research as well. So hopefully Amazon will start suggesting more keywords, driving traffic for more keywords. And then when you analyze your reports, you can see what search terms people are coming to your listings on and clicking on your listings on, and which ones convert. So yeah, I would start with an auto campaign.
Okay. And in your experience, you know, which type of advertising has really worked in terms of getting the higher sales with a low cost of spend as much as possible?
Yeah, well, it depends on the product and the competition. So we've had some clients we've worked with where they have just run an auto campaign and they've done really well out the box. You know, we had one recently. They're doing 20 or 30 sales quite quickly with net cost as low as 10%, but that's not the norm. We've had other ones where they've had quite high costs and not that many sales from the auto campaigns. And with these clients, we've had to sort of shift over to manual campaigns and try and manually identify the search terms that we think we really want to push sales to and rank for, and sort of go on the kind of model where we're trying to rank for these search terms and drive as much traffic and sales as possible. So it depends. It depends on the product and the competition and how well the auto campaigns do.
Sure. So, you know, again, going back to the type of campaigns there. So we've got ASIN targeting campaigns here in the UK and the European and the US. So, and what's your thought on those sort of campaigns? Are there any good campaigns to run? Or?
Yeah, definitely. So if you think you've got a chance of stealing some sales away from competitors, then definitely, obviously the auto campaigns will identify some competitor ASINs, and also if you do your own research, you can go to the bestseller categories, see what the bestsellers are, or you can type in your search terms and see which competitors' products show up.
Yeah.
And it depends how aggressive you want to be. If you want to be really aggressive and you've got a big budget, you can take the bestsellers with strong listings and just go for it. Or if you want to be more conservative, you can find similar products that rank okay, but with maybe poor quality listings or much more expensive or not as good a product as yours, and you can target those with product targeting ads. Yep, so they're all available in Japan, just like the UK.
Yeah, so thanks for explaining all the auto campaigns, keyword campaigns, and all different types. Then, I think what would be good is if you could sort of walk us through the optimization process of the ads. And also, especially bear in mind, it's for somebody who doesn't understand Japanese.
Yeah.
So,
No, yeah.
so talk us through the step one, step through for somebody who doesn't understand Japanese. That'd be good.
Yeah. Now, there is software available that works in Japan now. Until recently,
Okay.
there wasn't, but there is now. But this can be quite expensive, a few £100, dollars a month. So
Yeah.
maybe some people getting started might want to invest in that. But you can, if you want to do it yourself, you can either do it in the Seller Central dashboard yourself, because now you can see the search terms of the auto campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say, show me the search terms for the last 30 days for these auto campaigns. And of course, it's all in Japanese, but if you're using something like Chrome, the browser Chrome, you can just right click and say translate, and it auto translates these terms for you. Some of the translations aren't always perfect,
Yeah.
but you can generally get the understanding of what those different search terms are. And of course, you can see how many clicks they've had, how many sales they've had. So you can easily add these as negative search terms in the Seller Central dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do the same for the manual campaigns if you've got these running. And we've also got the negative ASIN targeting now in Japan, so you can put the ASINs in there if you don't want to bid on ASINs. So you can do it that way just by looking at I suppose you don't even need to translate. You can just look at the clicks if you just want to look at the data.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always some search terms that might be really relevant, so you might want to give that more of a chance.
Sure.
Or you can, if you want to do it yourself, you can download a search term report just like in the UK and load it up. And if you load it up in Google Sheets, again, it's all in Japanese, but you can do a quick auto translation. So if you just create a new column next to your Japanese words, and there's a little function you can type in, a translation function, and it just translates automatically in the Google Sheets all of the Japanese words. And again, it's not always perfect, but you can generally get the understanding of what the terms are.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just go down there and filter and see which search terms you want to add as negatives and cut and paste those in, or ones that are performing well, you can pull them out and create manual campaigns by looking at the search term reports. So it's a bit long-winded and it takes a bit of time, but if you want to do it yourself, you definitely can. Or there is software that we use that does this automatically for you or semi-automatically. So yeah, so it is doable.
Yeah. So no, I'm glad you said it is doable in some ways. It has to be for somebody who wants to grow their sales. So I think you've given us a lot of information here for somebody who is just starting up, and they can go ahead and do it a DIY approach. Yes, from your company name and what you do this every day sort of thing. So I think there may be people who would like to get in touch with you directly to ask different questions and perhaps book a consulting session with you. So so where is the best place to find you, Neil?
Yeah, well, probably the easiest is to go to the website, which is risingsuncommerce.com. And there's a contact page on there, and there's more details about what we do. But also on LinkedIn, so just search for me on LinkedIn and you should see my profile there and just get in touch that way. That's probably the easiest.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, right, we come towards the end of this podcast. Thank you very much, Neil, for your time today and explaining us through and talking us through the process of creating campaigns in Amazon Japan. So I'm sure everybody would find really useful. So, so thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I'll speak to you soon.